A'ja Wilson just got the news she's been dreading for months. While Caitlin Clark steps into Team USA's December training camp led by Sue Bird, Wilson finds herself watching from the sidelines.
Caitlin Clark just walked into the biggest moment of her career, earning a coveted spot at Team USA's elite training camp, while A'ja Wilson was nowhere to be found on the invite list. The basketball world immediately felt the shift. This wasn't just another roster update. This was a statement, a power move, and a clear signal about who Team USA sees as the future of women's basketball.
This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about Wilson watching Clark cement her status as the most powerful female athlete in the world while she gets left behind. The same woman who spent months trashing Clark's rookie season with her "I Have a Shoe Too" campaign now has to watch Clark take her spot on the global stage, as it looks like Wilson has been kicked off Team USA.
As Clark rises into global superstardom, Wilson's reaction has already begun to ripple across social media. The silence, the shade, and the subtle digs tell a much bigger story waiting to unfold.
Clark got the invite that separates the good players from the legends. Team USA wants her at Duke University for their December training camp. This camp determines who makes the 2026 World Cup roster and the 2028 Olympics. For Clark, this represents her first senior national team camp as a professional player.
The moment the Team USA invitation list dropped, the entire basketball world stopped and stared. Caitlin Clark, the rookie who took over television ratings, merchandise sales, and global attention, was officially selected for the December training camp at Duke University. This is not a casual camp. This is where Team USA decides who represents the country in the World Cup and the Olympics. It is the doorway to becoming the face of American basketball on the world stage.
Sue Bird runs this operation as managing director. She handpicks the players who will define American women's basketball for the next decade. Bird evaluates every move, every play, every leadership moment during these 3 intense days. The players who impress her at Duke earn their pathway to international stardom, the ones who don't get left behind. Clark walks into Duke alongside basketball's most exciting young talent.
Clark's name, sitting on that list, sent a bold message that nobody could ignore. Team USA is run with precision and purpose. Sue Bird oversees the operation as managing director, and she does not hand out invitations unless a player is part of the long-term plan. Every drill, every possession, every leadership moment during these sessions gets evaluated. Players who stand out begin their journey toward becoming Olympians. Players who do not impress are moved aside for the next generation. It is a competitive environment built to reveal who is ready for the pressure of international basketball.
All these rising stars are making their senior national team camp debuts together. This group represents the future of women's basketball on the global stage. Head coach Kara Lawson leads the camp with WNBA coaches Natalie Nakas, Nate Tibbetts, and Stephanie White running the court sessions. These coaches know talent when they see it. They've watched Clark dominate the WNBA as a rookie and sophomore. Now they get to see her compete against the best players in the world for 3 straight days.
Clark earned her spot through performance and presence. Her rookie season was not just statistically strong, it was electric. She transformed arenas, shifted television schedules, and became the most watched athlete in women's basketball. Team USA wants players who elevate the sport on and off the court, and Clark does both with ease. Her invitation shows that the program sees her not just as a talented scorer, but as a leader who can carry the brand of USA basketball for years to come.
Clark has positioned herself as the centerpiece of both competitions. The invitation sends a clear message about Clark's value to Team USA. Her WNBA seasons proved she can perform under pressure. Her leadership qualities emerged during Indiana's playoff push. Her global appeal makes her perfect for international competition. Sue Bird and Team USA see Clark as more than just a talented player. They see her as the face of their program. Clark's inclusion at this historic camp marks her transition from WNBA phenom to global basketball icon.
What makes her selection even more significant is the company she joins. Paige Buchers, Juju Watkins, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, and Aaliyah Boston highlight the new wave of players stepping into the global spotlight. It is a group built around youth, excitement, and long-term potential. Together, they represent the next era of dominance.
The December training sessions at Duke will test her against the world's best competition. The coaches will evaluate her fit with different lineups and playing styles. Success at this camp opens the door to representing America on basketball's biggest stages. The contrast becomes impossible to ignore when you look at who didn't get invited. Wilson's absence from this camp speaks volumes about where Team USA sees the future of women's basketball. While Clark prepares to compete for international roster spots, Wilson watches from home. The generational shift in American basketball has officially begun, and Clark stands at the center of it all.
As all eyes shift to this new generation taking center stage, the question grows louder. If Clark and her peers are the future, then where does that leave A'ja Wilson? The ripple effect of that missing name will become impossible to ignore.
Wilson's reaction to seeing Clark get that Team USA invitation tells you everything about where her head has been for months now. The jealousy started way before this camp announcement. Wilson has been watching Clark's rise with growing frustration, and each new achievement Clark earned triggered another round of petty responses from the Las Vegas star. The timeline starts with Clark's massive Nike deal announcement. While basketball fans celebrated Clark landing one of the biggest endorsement contracts in women's sports history, Wilson couldn't stay quiet. She launched her "I Have a Shoe Too" campaign across social media.
As the full roster circulated, fans quickly noticed the unmistakable pattern. Nearly every rising star in women's basketball received the call. Paige Bueckers, one of the most polished guards of her generation, finally stepped into her first senior camp. Juju Watkins, already drawing national attention despite her age, joined the group as a future anchor of the program. Angel Reese entered the mix with her rebounding dominance and growing fan base. Cameron Brink and Aaliyah Boston added size, versatility, and defensive presence. This was not a random collection of talent. It was a carefully selected new era. Team USA has always refreshed its roster in cycles, but this time felt different. Instead of easing younger players in gradually, the program pushed them straight to the front. These athletes represent the modern style of basketball: faster play, deeper shooting range, stronger marketability, and global appeal. They are the generation built for the spotlight, the one that can sustain American basketball for the next decade. Clark's inclusion among them confirms that she is already viewed as one of the main pillars of that future. The dynamic becomes even more intriguing with Boston in the mix. Her chemistry with Clark in Indiana turned heads throughout the season. Their two-player connection created highlight plays and efficient offense that coaches love. Team USA wants to see whether that combination can translate to the international stage. If it does, Clark and Boston could become one of the most dangerous duos in global basketball. While the new wave steps forward, the absence of certain veterans speaks volumes. Quietly and without making an announcement, Team USA shifted its identity. Instead of leaning on the same older stars, the program is choosing to build around players who can dominate for years rather than seasons. It is a strategic investment in longevity, growth, and international branding. This shift sets the stage for the uncomfortable truth no one can ignore. With a camp built around youth, momentum, and fresh star power, the question becomes unavoidable. Why was A'ja Wilson left off the list entirely, especially when nearly every other top name of her generation got the invitation? That unanswered question opens the door to an even deeper story. Once the excitement around the roster settled, the conversation shifted to the name that wasn't there. A'ja Wilson, a former MVP and longtime staple of Team USA, was completely missing from the invitation list. No explanation, no public reasoning, just silence. For a player of Wilson's stature, that silence said more than any press release ever could. Team USA doesn't simply forget someone of her caliber. When a program this selective leaves out a veteran star, it signals a deliberate recalibration of direction. Behind the scenes, Team USA evaluates more than statistics. They look at marketability, leadership style, public perception, and long-term impact. In those areas, Clark has surged ahead at a speed nobody saw coming. Her influence extends far beyond basketball, whether it is record-breaking ratings, packed arenas, viral moments, or international interest. Clark brings an entire ecosystem with her. Team USA understands the importance of global branding, and Clark's presence elevates every event she touches. Wilson, meanwhile, has struggled to match that level of influence. Her achievements on the court are unquestioned. But endorsements, crossover appeal, and cultural momentum are now a massive part of Team USA's strategy. The program wants faces who attract audiences worldwide, especially ahead of the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Clark fits that vision perfectly. There is also the matter of chemistry within the new core. Team USA appears to be prioritizing younger players who already have strong relationships, shared history, and natural on-court synergy. Clark's connection with Boston, her impact on rising stars, and her compatibility with the upcoming generation make her an ideal building block. Wilson, increasingly isolated by her own competitive persona and online behavior, doesn't align with this new direction. The decision to leave Wilson out wasn't random. It was the clearest signal yet that Team USA is moving on from the old era. Clark and her peers are the blueprint now. And while fans dissect the implications, one truth becomes harder to deny. This wasn't just a missed invitation. It was a message. And that message stings the loudest for Wilson. To understand why A'ja Wilson reacted so emotionally to Clark's Team USA call-up, you have to go back to the moment the jealousy truly began. It didn't start with the camp invitation. It didn't start with the Olympics. It started the day Caitlin Clark signed one of the biggest endorsement contracts in the history of women's sports. Clark's Nike deal wasn't just a contract. It was a cultural moment. Social media exploded, stores prepared for massive releases, and fans waited in line just to grab anything with Clark's logo on it. It instantly reshaped the landscape of women's basketball. While the world celebrated, Wilson launched her now infamous "I Have a Shoe Too" campaign. Photo dumps, captions, reposts, all crafted to position herself back in the spotlight. But fans immediately noticed something was off. Instead of excitement, the posts felt like panic. Instead of confidence, they felt like insecurity disguised as humor. People saw it as an attempt to steal attention from Clark's breakthrough moment. Within hours, the narrative shifted. Clark looked like the future. Wilson looked threatened. And rather than letting the moment pass, Wilson doubled down. For weeks, she posted the phrase, "What is delayed is not denied," trying to convince her audience, and maybe herself, that her time was coming. The problem was that Clark's success wasn't delayed at all. It was happening instantly. Every post Wilson made only made the contrast sharper. Clark's merchandise sold out within minutes. Her highlight videos broke viewing records. Her international buzz grew daily. Meanwhile, Wilson's campaigns stalled and struggled to gain traction. This was the start of a pattern that fans couldn't ignore. Every time Clark reached a milestone, Wilson responded with something cryptic, defensive, or competitive. The jealousy wasn't loud, but it was constant, and it created a timeline of resentment that only grew with every achievement. Clark added to her resume by the time the Team USA camp invitations were announced. The tension had been building for months. Clark rose higher. Wilson grew more frustrated, and the gap between them in influence, in momentum, in perception, widened to the point where it became impossible to hide. The moment that pushed A'ja Wilson past frustration and into full public meltdown came when Caitlin Clark earned one of the most prestigious honors in all of sports. Clark became the first women's basketball player ever named Time Athlete of the Year. It was a historic achievement that recognized not just her talent, but her cultural impact, her ability to bring new audiences into the sport, and her unmatched influence across the entire landscape of women's athletics. The announcement dominated headlines, social media, and sports networks for days. Clark wasn't just a rising star anymore. She was a global force. Wilson's reaction was immediate and loud, even if she never directly said Clark's name. Fans noticed she liked posts arguing that other athletes were more deserving. She shared content hinting that the award was exaggerated or misplaced. She posted cryptic quotes about real greatness, not needing validation. The timing wasn't subtle. Every move felt like an indirect swing at Clark's achievement. The shift in tone from Wilson was impossible to ignore. Instead of celebrating the historic moment for women's basketball, she positioned herself as the overlooked one, the veteran who wasn't getting her flowers. That sentiment might have been relatable if it weren't for the pattern already forming. By this point, fans had seen the reactions pile up over and over again. Clark simply succeeding was enough to trigger another round of Wilson commentary. Things escalated further when Wilson started addressing money. During interviews, she insisted she earned the same speaking fees as Clark. The claim spread quickly, but so did the disbelief. People knew Clark was selling out arenas, breaking television records, and moving merchandise faster than companies could restock it. Suggesting they had equal market value only made Wilson look insecure and disconnected from reality. This was the moment the narrative truly shifted. Clark looked focused, grateful, and driven. Wilson looked bothered, defensive, and increasingly consumed by comparisons she pretended not to care about. The contrast exposed something deeper than simple competition. It revealed a player who felt the ground shifting beneath her and couldn't accept that a new star was rising. Right in front of her? As Clark continued stacking achievements, A'ja Wilson tried to keep pace, but every attempt only highlighted the widening gap between them. The frustration shifted from subtle social media shade to a series of public claims and comparisons that exposed how deeply Wilson felt threatened by Clark's rise. The more Clark accomplished, the more Wilson tried to force herself back into the narrative. But each effort seemed to fall flat, reinforcing the very insecurity she tried to hide. One of Wilson's boldest moves came when she doubled down on the idea that she matched Clark's off-court earnings. She insisted in interviews that she commanded the same speaking fees and had the same financial pull. Fans immediately questioned the claim. Clark was selling out arenas nationwide, drawing unprecedented television audiences, and outperforming every athlete in merchandise sales. Companies lined up to work with her, and her brand partnerships were expanding at a pace rarely seen in women's sports. Suggesting their commercial value was equal didn't convince anyone. Instead, it created a wave of conversations about why. Wilson felt the need to even make the comparison. Wilson's online behavior became even more revealing. She engaged with posts criticizing Clark's playing style, liked comments claiming Clark received unfair media favoritism, and shared content that downplayed Clark's accomplishments. Each action added to a growing perception that Wilson wasn't just competing with Clark, she was obsessed with her. The combination of subtle jabs and defensive messaging painted a picture of a player trapped in a cycle of comparison she publicly denied, but quietly fueled meanwhile. Clark remained unbothered. Her social media highlighted team wins, fan interactions, and moments of gratitude. Her interviews focused on improvement and goals. She didn't clap back, didn't address the noise, and didn't play into the drama. That composure only made Wilson's reactions look more emotional and out of place. By the time the Team USA roster surfaced, the contrast between them was undeniable. Clark looked like the future-focused, marketable, and built for the global stage. Wilson looked stuck, frustrated, and weighed down by a competition she created in her own mind. And that disconnect only set the stage for the biggest moment yet. When the official Team USA camp list hit the internet, the reaction was immediate. Caitlin Clark was in, A'ja Wilson was not. For a player who built her identity around being one of the top names in women's basketball, the exclusion wasn't just a disappointment, it was a statement. And fans instantly understood what that statement meant. Team USA wasn't simply building a roster, they were choosing who would represent the new face of American basketball for the next decade. Clark fit that vision perfectly. Wilson did not. This wasn't about talent alone. Wilson is a proven champion, a dominant scorer, and a respected veteran. But Team USA was clearly prioritizing more than on-court numbers. They wanted momentum, leadership, cultural influence, and global appeal. Clark checks every one of those boxes. Her presence attracts international attention, boosts ticket sales, and brings in sponsors who want to be part of her era. The program knows that the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics will be massive global events. They want players who elevate the brand far beyond the court. Wilson's absence became even more noticeable when fans saw who did receive invitations. Nearly every star from the rising generation was included. The message became obvious. Team USA was leaning fully into youth, chemistry, and long-term upside. Clark and Boston's partnership was too valuable to pass up. Paige Buchers and Juju Watkins represent the next wave of elite backcourt talent. Angel Reese brings rebounding dominance and marketability. All of them align perfectly with the direction Team USA is heading. Wilson simply did not fit the blueprint anymore. After months of passive-aggressive posts, public comparisons, and attempts to undermine Clark's achievements, her image took a hit. Instead of appearing as a leader who supported the growth of women's basketball, she looked increasingly bitter toward the sport's most important rising star. Team USA is a brand built on unity, chemistry, and positive representation. Wilson's behavior clashed with that identity. The snub wasn't accidental. It was the final confirmation that the era of the old guard is ending. Clark and the new generation are stepping into the spotlight. And Wilson, for the first time in her career, is being forced to watch the sport move forward without her. Caitlin Clark's Team USA invitation isn't just another milestone. It marks the beginning of a global takeover, one that positions her as the centerpiece of the next decade of international basketball. The December training camp at Duke is the first step toward shaping the rosters for both the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Those events will define an entire generation of players, and Clark is already at the center of that vision. Team USA sees her as the athlete who can electrify arenas, command worldwide attention, and carry the program into a new era of dominance. Her on-court fit is only part of the equation. The chemistry she shares with Aaliyah Boston puts Team USA in a position to build an unstoppable foundation. Their connection in Indiana was undeniable. Boston anchors the defense with power and discipline, while Clark orchestrates the offense with creativity and precision. Together, they form a duo built to overwhelm international opponents, and the training camp will allow coaches to explore that partnership on a larger stage. Add in talents like Juju Watkins, Paige Buchers, and Cameron Brink, and the future suddenly looks brighter than ever. While Clark steps forward, Wilson stands on the opposite side of the moment. For months, she positioned herself as Clark's rival in ways that fans found unnecessary. Online shade, passive-aggressive posts, constant comparisons, and defensive messaging slowly chipped away at her public image. Instead of celebrating the sport's growth, she appeared rattled by it. Now, as Clark prepares for the world stage, Wilson's absence highlights the consequences of that behavior. The sport is shifting, and the audience is shifting with it. Clark represents the new standard: humble leadership, cultural impact, all ages appeal, and undeniable star power. Every metric, every headline, every surge of fan excitement pushes her further ahead. Wilson's attempt to maintain her place through criticism and comparison only made Clark's rise look even more impressive, and that is the part that stings the most. The era Wilson tried to protect is already gone. The new chapter of women's basketball has begun, and Caitlin Clark is steering it. Team USA confirmed it. The fans confirmed it. The world is watching it happen in real time. Caitlin Clark's rise to Team USA marks a turning point that A'ja Wilson cannot ignore. While Clark steps confidently into the global spotlight, Wilson is left confronting the consequences of months spent fighting a battle she could never win. The game has evolved, the audience has shifted, and the future now belongs to a new generation built on momentum, humility, and worldwide appeal. Clark didn't just earn her invitation, she earned the trust of an entire sport. And as she moves forward toward the World Cup and Olympics, Wilson is forced to watch the era she once ruled slip away.